To learn more about the historic St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in National City, you have to know about the community and its founders, the Kimball brothers. National City was established in 1868 by Frank Kimball and brothers Warren and Levi. They would purchase thousands of acres of land in the South Bay. The brothers would bring the Transcontinental Railroad to the West Coast, more specifically to National City. They would be responsible for many historic buildings still standing today. St. Matthew's Episcopal Church on East 8th Street is one of the most recognizable historic landmarks in the city. The land parcel the church sits on was part of the 26,000-acre El Rancho de la Nación, which was partially purchased by the Kimball brothers. The brothers would later donate the land parcel to build the church in 1887. Oh, this is a beautiful church. When was it first built?
In 1887.
And so you've been attending the church for a number of years?
Since 1953.
So I can imagine a lot of memories here?
Oh yes, like children were baptized here, my sons were married here.
Retired Dr. Anthony Pierangelo is a longtime parishioner. He has witnessed a number of changes through the years since he moved from the East Coast to National City in the mid-1950s.
It's the church with the old-fashioned steeple. But again, it's more of an old English church than an old Spanish church. I'd say it's all wooden with different types of wood.
It was built like an English countryside church, mostly of redwood. The wood to build the church came from the East Coast around Cape Horn and also from Northern California. The church has a distinctive appearance, and many who drive by are curious about its history and charm. What do they say?
They're taken by the difference in the architecture of the church, for one thing, because it's probably a bit of Old England here. And just as you are, with how unique the church is on the interior.
Dr. Pierangelo shows me around and points out what is original to the church. It has been exceptionally preserved through the years. Is this where the pulpit has always been, and is it a traditional area for Episcopal churches?
Oh yes, the pulpit usually is set to the side of the apse or the altar area, and raised so the congregation can see the priest. Although today, as I mentioned, the priest is all over the church.
They sort of walk around and don't stay in one spot as they used to. The beautiful decorative ceiling is also original, so is the wainscoting.
The priest conducts his service from the altar now facing the congregation rather than facing the rear of the church.
And so what was you typically back here?
Choir sat on the sides, and the altar was back facing the rear wall. This screen was out in front.
Further up. There have been other noticeable changes in the past 122 years.
This organ was put together back in the mid-60s, when around the time that the parish hall was built. The organist at that time was a fellow named Douglas Duncan, who went around and got the organ from the parts of the organ from different places and put them together as I remember it.
The beautiful designed stained glass windows were installed in the 1920s. So were the decorative 12 stations of the cross along the church's walls. The pews, however, were installed later, around the 1960s. It's not just the church, but the community has also undergone a transformation. But some things have remained the same.
Well, the congregation has changed over the years, as you can imagine. The initial congregation, the Kimbells originally came from New England, from western Massachusetts. And the original congregation were probably more immigrants from New England than anywhere else. At the present time, the church body is primarily Filipino. These are the changes that have taken over gradually in the years. But regardless of which congregation, the history of the church has been the congregation pitches in.